there's also the aspect of, mindset, because I was coaching recently a CFO of a major global organization. The L&D department contacted me and said, look, he did a presentation to the city and it wiped millions of our share price overnight. And it was interesting. There was kind of a lot of him on YouTube and examples, and I watched all of this and thought, God, he's an amazing communicator, and he's charismatic, and he was well structured, and the delivery was fabulous. And when I went to work with him, I said, Frank, what actually happened?
Mm.
And he said, I don't know. He said, I was planned. I had prepared a message. I had pretty good story to tell. He said, I know there was a lot at stake. And I said, yeah, but so what actually went wrong? He said, I have no clue. I said, well, what were you saying to yourself before you got up on the podium? And I won't say the exact words, Martin,
Mm.
but I'll say something that it rhymed with. He said,
Mm.
I remember that really well. I was saying to myself, as my CEO was finishing off his presentation, I was saying to myself, don't duck it up, don't
Mm.
duck it up, don't duck it up. And I said, well, how did that work for you? And he went, I ducked it up.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a little example there of, even when we have got the structure, when we have got our message, the persuasive cycles, the delivery right, and how people can self-sabotage
Mm.
through the internal speak in terms of what they're saying to themselves, because as we know, the unconscious mind is incredibly powerful, and in this particular example with Frank, can't compute the word don't.
Mm.
It filters it out, and all his unconscious mind was hearing was duck it
Mm.
up, and it did a brilliant job at doing that. So I'd say certainly the kind of mindset, and all the other strategies that we look at for peak performance under pressure.
It
But
is definitely a game changer, and we know that people often, if they could relax and they got themselves out of a highly kind of stimulated stress response state, the words would actually flow.
yeah,
But they're putting so much emphasis on avoiding screwing up
mm,
that engenders a stress response, and now they can't think, they can't speak clearly, they're not in the moment, they've come out of the moment and they're in the future thinking about what would happen if this doesn't work. And that's the, being in the present state, being calm, being centered. And there are techniques you can do, particularly through lots of mental rehearsal. If anyone's got any kind of pitch to do, why would you not spend um, several hours, rehearsing it in your mind, because we know that works, because the brain then gets familiar with it and it feels more comfortable. It feels like it's been there before. And cognitively, we lock that in our head, and our brain, you calm the unconscious mind by feeling familiar. But what instead that people do is that they start mentally rehearsing it going wrong, because they don't get control of their unconscious mind.